Well, what a glorious day to start a session. Even if it is a Tuesday, which is very, very unusual for me. But I was busy yesterday. Yes, we've gone back on the island lake. You probably, if you're not on the inner circle, you're a little bit behind the times. Because I was in this particular swim last week. I did a blog that was only on the inner circle. I had 4 fish. Well, I sort of started in this swim, then I moved next door, then I moved back in here. But I ended up with 4 carp up to £30. Lovely £30 linear. Absolute stonker it is. Had a £26 common, which is also, as you can see, a beautiful fish. And a couple of smaller ones, probably 20 and a double, something like that, both commons. But it was a bit of a mixed bag. I struggled when it was high pressure, like this, and hot, and then a low came in, and it all got better and better. And that's why I don't mind being here late this week, to be honest, because there's another low coming in, but it's all going to start happening tomorrow. And it's going to drop proper low, and it's the full moon at the weekend as well, so it's all looking good. It's actually the hunter's moon, which is very aptly named, isn't it, for us lot? It's one of my favourites. There's definitely been a pattern on here revolving around the moons this year. So I'm going to do 3 nights, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. So I get the best of the weather. Caught the big one the day before the full moon. I'm currently in that absolute bomb site stage. I'm sure you know the one where you're nearly set up. I've got the house up, but yeah, you're nearly set up, but everything really, realistically, is just trashed. Rods haven't even got alarms yet. There's no rush, not when it's like this. Scorchio. It is actually Scorchio today. Right, I better make some semblance of order out of this pile of poo. Make it look like a carp fishing swim. Then sit in the sun and have cold cider, I think. Be absolutely rude not to, wouldn't it? Well, cob's on the go. It's a little bit early, but I am so hungry. I've had absolutely nothing today. It's 4:45. It's still roasting hot. But I have to eat. Got to eat something. I've got a pack of chicken thighs, and I've done a bit of a curry mix over them. Early tea, probably early bed tonight. Been knackered the last couple of days. I've got a new truck. You might have seen it on Facebook. I was after asking about if anyone knew any Ford dealers, and one came through. Got myself a Ford Transit Custom Sport. Yeah. My first journey up here with it this week, today. Absolutely lovely. Drive like a dream. Nothing like the old Transits I used to know. Proper smooth drive. Fast as well now. I suppose any Transit I've ever driven in the past has been about 20 years old and completely clapped out. No, I'm not impressed. Just got to get a bit of racking in the back, load it all up, all my bits and pieces. Be sorted. Perfect for winter and that when I'm on the barrow. Just load it all up at home with the barrow, push it in there, get to the lake, drop it out, away you go. So it's pitch dark outside. It's raining. My stupid dog still refuses to come in the bivvy. She's actually found a tree to lay under. That's the only bit of the swim that isn't getting wet. And she's fast asleep next to the rods. Bless her. The weather's definitely improved from a fishing point of view. Looks really good now. I'm hoping for a bite in, well, I'd like one in the night, but morning seems to be the best bet. We'll see how it goes. See how long it takes for the water to start dripping through them branches and her to actually decide to come in. Probably quite a long time knowing her. Well, it's now midnight. We've been to sleep. Went to bed about 10:30. Slept like crap. Been up and had a cup of tea and sat here with tea and a fag. And I've heard 3 already. In however long it takes to have a cup of tea and a fag. All in front of me, boshing out. I've got one rod that's a sort of banker rod. And I ain't moved it since I got here. I'm wondering if it's wrong. Might have just gone down unlucky, you know. It might be hidden behind a stone, or it might just, I don't know. There's another one. Did you hear that? I don't know what the phone picks up. Heard one just then sounded a lot closer. I've got rods at all ranges. 2 over bait and 1 on a single. Two of them are boated, one of them's cast. Got all bases covered really. They're definitely out there. And again. I want it nice before the planes start. Get a bit of nature. Everything's slowly waking up. Still at the motorway droning in the distance. He's awake up there in the tree. Just want one of them 3 buggers down there to wake up. You gotta love that sizzling sound, don't you? Can only be bacon and eggs, can't it? And sausages, obviously. If them carp ain't gonna feed, well, I am. Can't wait any longer, I'm absolutely starving. Mind you, I'm willing to turn it off if I get a bite. It can go on hold. It did last week. Halfway through cooking my breakfast and one ripped off. Sometimes you've got to give them that little incentive. A bit like back in the day when you used to go out for the day float fishing when you was a kid. You'd have a flask of, I don't know, soup or hot bovril I used to take. I used to love hot bovril. And you'd just be sat there watching the float and you'd be like, put the cup between your legs, just pinch between your knees, halfway through pouring out a cup of scalding hot drink and the float would bury. Every time, guaranteed. Spill it all over your legs, scorch yourself, miss the fish. But that's just the way it is, and if you're going to get a bite, it's going to be while you're doing something else. So I'm trying the breakfast method. Well, she's nearly ready. Just waiting for that horrible slimy bit on top of the eggs to go white. Look at that. Yeah. So if you're going to interrupt my breakfast, Mr. Fish, you better hurry up. Oh, look who's turned up for breakfast. Fancy you turning up, Madalena. There's the thing. Well, it's about lunchtime, late lunchtime, and the weather is starting to change a bit now. A bit more wind, swap round southwesterly, it's quite constant, we've got a little bit of drizzle. And it is looking better than it's looked so far. You remember this time yesterday it was scorching, and now it's really not. So yeah, looking better. Not an awful lot else to report, to be honest. Madalena don't give a shit, she's just laying out in it. Rain what rain. I think the forecast is for quite a lot of rain this evening. Hopefully the carp will start performing. It seems weird just sitting put. Don't know what to do with myself. I've watched 2 episodes of something on Netflix this afternoon, or just late morning. Had my breakfast. Even had a nice little lunchtime cider. Oh, this has made me yawn. One of it. Don't know what else to do. If you don't, what do you do if you don't move? I don't know. There must be something. Don't think I could get used to static carp angling. It's alright if you're hauling them, but when you're just sort of waiting for stuff to occur, you just sit there. Oh well. Well, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I ain't had an awful lot of sleep, to be honest. Went back to bed about 1. Still hearing them. Madalena's been on a mouse hunt since about, I don't know, 4:30. I reckon she jumped over and charged up and down after something. To be honest, most of the bites I've had from this swim have been between now and 8:30. After that, I'm going to have to try zigs, I think. I don't really know you know, with this pressure dropping like this and this time of year, you shouldn't have to go on the zigs yet. But with the amount of fish that I've heard out there, I should have had a bite. I really should. Well, I have absolutely no idea. No idea how I haven't had a bite. All the best times have gone. They're obviously out here. And yet nothing. The only thing that can happen is when I wind them in, they're all tangled, but I very much doubt that. Apart from that, clueless. Perfect. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So I don't know. Rig's perfect. Hook's razor sharp. Bait's clean. What have they been doing out there all night? They put them all out on zigs. It don't make any sense. I had 4 bites last week. They were feeding last week. Conditions are just as good. Better, even. Hey, buddy. You good girl? Oh, you're a good girl. Well, we've just seen a carp, so we're getting all excited, aren't we? Well, I am, you're not. The day's gone by, as you can probably see. Haven't done any filming today whatsoever, have we? Been to the shops, we bought some more food. Jacket potatoes we've got tonight. Just for a change. Yeah, brought in the rigs this morning and they was all spotless, untangled and perfect. I don't really know what's been going on. I've had a zig out since I got back from the shops. On my left hand rod out in the sort of deep open bit. It's a funny old swim. It's generally dead flat and deep and about 14 foot deep all to this left hand side, and then when you get right over near the far margins you can pick up little stud bars of harder ground coming off, and then the right hand side of the swim shallows right up. There's like a bar sort of, yeah, I suppose it is a bar, runs roughly in the middle, and then another little gully and then another bit, but all that's to the right, and all the fish activity I've seen has been to the left of that. So I went right over the back there and found, I didn't want to just put them all back on the same spots. I put one back on my banker spot, but I found another spot further right. And I was in two minds. I put it out there and I put the cane out and I came back and I thought, well, it's not really where I'd seen them. It's like too far over, but at least there's something there. Anyway, I put a cane out there and a couple of scoops of particle, a handful of boilies, not a lot, and a rig on it. And literally 5 minutes ago, one's just boshed out right next to it. I grabbed the bins, found the cane, and I could see the froth. Oh, probably 6 or 8 foot to the right of it. Right bang on the money. And then 2 minutes later, one smaller one jumped halfway across, which is roughly where I was fishing, but I know there's not a lot there, but where that fish is shown, that's right next to one of my traps. It's not actually the best time to start filming because it's rush hour everywhere. It's rush hour on the train as the motorway and up there. They seem to have the same commuter rules, if you like. From 5 till about 7 is just one after another. But yeah, it's all due to change tonight. It's supposed to be at midnight a big easterly coming in, which is, you know, we haven't had an easterly for donkeys, and an easterly actually blows straight into that bank that I'm fishing against. So it'll come through this gap, through that way, round this island, the island that I'm on, and sort of converge out that way, if you like. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing, really, because last week I had 4, and then on the last day it went northerly and it just died. So we'll see how the easterly affects it. It's not the best wind in the world at this time of year, but it's unusual. It's one of my favourite summer winds, an easterly. It's really rare in the summer. I love a summer easterly, but it's not summer anymore. But we'll see. It might work. It might just work. Nothing else has it, Mads? But they're still here. They've been here the whole time, just not getting their heads down. I don't know what to do with that zig. I might leave that zig out there all night. We'll see. I've got a little pop-up already tied up on a hinge stiff rig over there, ready to swap out for the zig if I decide that they might be going down. You can see me spending a lot of the night up again. That's when they're going to show. I'll teach you to bark every time one jumps. That'd be the one, wouldn't it? Come and wake me up gently with a paw. Dad, Dad, jumping. Dad, Dad, jumping. What do you think? You think you could do that for your dad? Come and give me a little gentle shake. Daddy, Daddy, carp. She barks at the bite alarm. That's a good thing. She's loud as well, better than the trot box. Leave her in the swim. When she barks, come running back and strike. Good plan. Look at that for a feast. Hey? Jacket spuds with melted cheese, salami and ham. Fit for a king, eh? Living like kings. And while I scoff that, you lot can look at the pond. Oh, I looked down at my spuds, looked up. Maybe you lot saw that, I didn't. Right over the back there. Was that a bird or a fish? Long way out. Christ, is a lot. Wow, you're hot. That is gel. Can't see a bird, that's been a fish. Oh no, it's just in another little ring in the same area, so it could have been yeah, I think it was a bird. God, there's a few hundred degrees inside them, I can tell you. A sensible bloke would wait 5 minutes and then eat them. I am not that sensible bloke. Right, here we go. All set for the third and final night. Hopefully it won't be as frustrating as the last two. I just had a look at the weather. It's turning easterly still, as predicted about midnight and it is going to absolutely tip it down with rain. Luckily easterly comes right over my head. Looks like it's quite strong, but it's going to rain all the second half of the night and all day tomorrow. So I'm going to be getting pretty wet packing up, I reckon. But hopefully I'll be getting wet playing a fish before that. So we shall see what the night brings. Hopefully a bit of sleep as well. Could do with something. I've had a lot last night. I can sleep well when it rains though. That's when I do sleep, when it's raining. Something about the rain on a bivvy roof, isn't there? Hopefully between now and midnight I'll hear a few. I think given the weather coming easterly and rain, I think I'm going to scrap that zig in a couple of hours or an hour's time. I cast a marker out and clipped it up, went out in the boat and just sort of scattered a few boilies around a spot out there where they were showing last night. It's deep and silty, it's not the best, it's not a mark, but it's easy enough to sort of wrap up a rig and whack it out right on. Lined it up with one big tall tree so I can get on my bait. Like I say, not the best sort of ground, but then most of it isn't in this swim. Stick a little hinge pop up out there. Right, anyway, camera's going away so it don't get wet later. I'm going to sit and look at the pond for a while, and I'll either see you all in the morning or sometime in between. Is that half an hour? Well, this is more like the view we want first thing in the morning. No free rods saying I don't know why I haven't had a bite. Well, I just had this one. You wait till you see him. He's special. He's an absolute corker. Look at him. Oh. In that one. 33 fully scaled. That'd do breakfast, wouldn't it? Hey? Look at him. He is a pearl. I just so hope that is focusing on this. He's an absolute stonker, isn't he? Hey? What a fish. What an absolute fish. Right, good morning then. Now we've done that, I don't know if I did say good morning. What's happened? I've caught a 33 fully scaled. Result, eh? What a fish it was. This is a lovely little payback for sticking it out really. Must admit I nearly went home yesterday. I just thought they're out there, you know, I'm hearing them at night, I know I'm on them. I'm amazed I've only had one fish. I mean, I don't know if they're still here now. This wind's picked up and pushing right down to the left there, up that end, the aquarium they call it. A big bay at the end there, I would imagine. You know, the last couple I saw were that way. So I would think that'd be a good place to be sat at the moment. But I'm happy. You've got to be happy, ain't you? You can't like that. Absolute belter. I did hear a couple more last night. I must admit, I'd made the decision I weren't, last night I needed some kit, but I weren't going to just sit up all night because there wasn't a move to be had today, because obviously I'm going home. So I heard a few and then thought that'd do. Sleeping bag up high over my head, turned the other way, got myself some kip. And was woken up by a ripper. It's still time for another one in these conditions. You've got to think, any time really. Like I say, since then I haven't seen anything actually in my swim as such, or even reachable. But at least we'll be going home with a smile on my face and not a stone in my shoe, the old limping stone. All good. Got enough grub left to rustle up with breakfast. Probably jog on about lunchtime. Well, Madalena, on our way home. Nearly back. Steaming now we are. Look at this. Hot fella. We've got ourselves a new motor. It does £80. Look. It's a water ski behind that. Not really actually what I need it on for, but it certainly made short work of that journey back against the wind. I am absolutely drowned. Everything is drowned. My dog is drowned. But there you go. We don't care. We caught carp. We won in the end. It is about another 20 minutes. We'll be in a nice warm van, making our way back down the M25. Come on, Mads, we're going home. Go home and see Piglet, shall we? Shall we? Right, we're here. See you later. Ta-da.
So what a fish that fully was, eh? Absolute gorgeous fish, beautiful. I'm so glad that I decided to stay on the island after my capture of roids, because I didn't for a little while. In fact, the next week I went over to K1 because it's just over the road and that's where I'm going to be fishing this winter. So I went over there the next week and just sort of thought it's a bit early. That's a winter lake for me, and it's not winter, is it? I mean, we've only just started autumn, to be honest. There was a few too many around, I suppose, really, for my, I'm used to seeing in the winter, after the frost, the anglers die off a little bit. Not quite literally, but they don't go fishing as much. So yeah, I decided to go back on the island. There's still some fish in the island that I would dearly like to catch, a little hit list, if you like. And one of those fish I got to see on the bank this week, because I've been back since that video. Today's Thursday or Friday, Thursday. So at the beginning of this week I went back and done another session, and I got to see one of them, my hit list on the bank. Unfortunately, it wasn't to me. I'm going to show you some footage of that in a minute. Some amazing, I took some video of it. Unbelievable fish. So I'll show you that in a minute. As I said in the video a couple of times, I do one of these sort of island lake videos as an exclusive thing for my Patreon, the Inner Circle. So if you're not in the Inner Circle, it might seem sometimes like I've skipped something or you've missed out on something, but you have missed out on something, to be honest. You're probably missing out on quite a lot more. It's going really well, the channel. We're giving away 200 quid's worth of mainline bait prizes I do like a questions and answer thing on there, where I answer, 12, 15 questions in here, every month, with various, if they're technical stuff, I'll do the bits and pieces to show exactly, my take on stuff. And then we have a winning question each month, which gets £100. He gets 100, or she gets £100 worth of mainline bait. And I do that sort of on the bank and in here, so I can give a better explanation. So it's a longer video that answers that. And obviously we've got 3 of the flick of the tail stories, which have gone really well. We've even went to the Mere with a camera at one stage, had a look around all the old swims. We've done some stories on the Mere Manor in the winter in Oxford, and we're at Conningbrook at the moment. and two-tone shortly to make an appearance. So if you do want to get over to that channel, I'll probably put some stuff in the comments below, or go on my Facebook. You'll find a link to it. It's £5 a month and they charge you £1 VAT, but you know, I think it's worth it, but it's entirely your choice. On the last exclusive vid, if you're not in the circle, there was a big fish caught in the swim next to me by another one of the anglers, Gav. He's mainly, I suppose you'd say, he's a weekend angler, but he fishes a Monday night, so I see him, you know, most weeks. And I was fishing the swim that I just have been, you know, for the last couple of weeks, Snags 2, and he was on Vipers, which is the main point swim, so they're next door to each other but fishing in totally different directions, if you like. And he caught one of the big mirrors, 44 pound 4 ounces, stonking great thing, and we had some footage of that on the exclusive one. Well, he's been at it again in almost a repeat performance this week. I was set up in Snags 2 and he set up in Vipers, and he actually phoned me up first thing in the morning and said, I've got one, it's a big one, you know. So I've run round, it is, like I say, 10 yards away. I've gone round there, and he said, have a look in that net. And I've looked in there, and straight away I thought, I know what that is, you know. There is this stonking great common in there. Unbelievable fish. And as it happens, when we put it up on the scales, 44.4. It's just like, deja vu. But like this one is out of this world. The mirror is nice. It was just, you know, like a big fat mirror the other week. But this common, oh man, it's just to die for. It really is. Right, here we go. Too bright. Let's have him up a bit.
It's going right down the back of my waist. It's so off-putting. It's so cold and all.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can see from that, I mean, what a fish, eh? What a fish. You can see why I wanted it. Probably, I don't know, you never know, do you? But I'm thinking in my mind might be a little bit late in the year to expect that fish to come out again, you know, so that I'd got a chance maybe. Not too sure that it will, but there's still some other lovely, lovely fish in there that, you know, haven't been out recently. That I'd like. The second biggest mirror, for example, that's going to be over £50 at the moment. I know it is. And that's a really nice fish. There's also a fully scaled, similar to the one I had, but goes over £40. You know, I'd love to get that on the bank. And others, you know, there's lots of other fish in there. So that's where I'm going to be for until I decide winter's arrived, but that's not arriving just yet. So anyway, that's it for this week. And I'll see you next time. Oh, one thing before I go, I did meant to say, fine lines. I've still got copies available, not an awful lot of them. I'm expecting to probably run out before Christmas. So if that was on your Christmas list, have a word with the missus or mister, and get them to go over to my site where you can get them. They're actually still on there on the lockdown offer of 25 quid. I never got round to putting them back up to the full price. So again, the details will be below somewhere. So there we go. Until next time, see you all later. Ta-da.